And on today's show, we shine the political spotlight on Aurora, Illinois, my old stomping ground, with the Aurora Alliance of the Grassroots, the Aurora Grassroots Alliance. Today's show will be a call in show. That number will be 708-414-0849. Again, that's 708-414-0849. The pressure continues, y'all. And today I have two guests with me who are leaders in the Aurora community with their activism. Ladies and gentlemen, we have for you first Brandy Gilliam with the Pole Bomb Society, and my main man Casildo Casey Cuevas who is an investigation coordinator at the Aurora Rapid Response Team. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we get a little bit of civic education here. These two gentlemen have been thoroughly active in the community, past guests on the show, and they're here today to share with everyone a little bit of the ins and outs of what's going on in Aurora as far as the local politics and the local scene here. So before we get to all of that, Brandy, introduce yourself to everyone, if you will, please.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Brandon Gilliam. I'm a member of the Pole Bomb Society, and I'm one of the members in the Aurora Grassroots Alliance. Just been doing community work here for a while and just trying to help out anywhere we can help out.
That's what's up. That's what's up. And Casildo, introduce yourself to the audience, please.
Hello, everyone. My name is Casildo Casey Cuevas. I belong to many organizations, too many to mention. Please look on my page. You'll see the whole list of them. I'm a community activist for first and foremost, but I also been helping people with disabilities, homeless, and people that need help in general, immigrants, immigration. Those are subjects that are dear to my heart, and I'm very involved.
All right, my brother. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to start the show off with Brandy, and to get things kicked off, it made national news. Chief Zinman is retiring from the Aurora Police Department, and in response to this news, Brandy is going to be talking to us a little bit about that and various other issues. So, if you will, my brother, take it away.
Well, we can call it a retirement if you want to, but actually, she's in the forefront or one of the forerunners in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, for a position. So, is it really a retirement, or is she just quitting, collecting the pension, going on there and getting another job? Absolutely. Not saying it's illegal because everybody does it, but it just leaves a bad taste in your mouth.
Sure.
Now, if she's retiring, and let's say Deputy Keith Cross, he should move up into the chief position. I don't know how that's going to play out, but let's just say he moved up to the chief's position, and then Liz, who's there, got bumped up to commander. That would be historic because you would have a black mayor, a black police chief, and a black commander here in Aurora. That would be historic. But that's a two-edged sword, because if Keith moves into the position of chief and has the same mentality of the former chief, then he's not helping the black Latino community. Or even if they move a white person in that position and that person claims that they want to talk or understand the black and Latino community, but if that person can't acknowledge the pain of the black and Latino community and what the police have done to us for decades, then it's still the same case. So the Aurora Grassroots Alliance, we're working on a letter that we want to draft and write and present it to the mayor of what we would like to see up in the next police chief. The qualifications, our concerns and issues and stuff, just directly from the people. Hopefully, once he gets the letter, I don't know if it's going to make a difference, but at least he knows that there's people out here that really want to see a change, not just cosmetic, but they want to see a change. Because if you look at the listening sessions, you look at the 60 key recommendations, you look at the change initiative reform, all of that stuff happened, and then they talk about it it's a great achievement, even the civilian review board. But the reality up on the streets is that language or that attitude is not translating to how the police treat people on the streets. So like we want to see real change. So hopefully with this letter, we can give to the mayor humbly, and he can read it humbly and say, this is what we expect up in the next police chief. Because I believe the Aurora Grassroots Alliance and every organization under that umbrella would like to have a better relationship with City Hall, and also a better relationship with the Aurora Police Department. But that relationship has to be built on truth. And if it's not built on truth, then hey, like we can draw the line up in the sand and say and say like the hell it is, you know. But the thing is, it has to be based on truth. So if the mayor or the chief of police and the Aurora Police Department really want to talk to the people, I would really encourage them to get the letter and read it with a humble heart, and not act like, you know, you're ahead of the curve. And like that's one of the problems, like with the Aurora Police Department. They think they're ahead of the curve, but like look at the situation up in the community. We're not ahead of the curve. So like we're trying to draft this letter and like present it and hopefully create some type of dialogue so like they can understand what the community would expect up in the next chief of police.
Well, I got you on that, man. What, without getting too detailed, what are some of the different ways in police practicing would you like to see Aurora Police Department adopt as far as the way, you know, they treat the black and brown citizens here?
Well, one of the main things is when a police officer pulls a gun on a person, that's supposed to be reported. But the thing is, that police officer has to input the data himself. So there's no fail safe for that. So if a police officer stops a Latino male or a black male, calls him a homophobic slur, pulls out his gun, searches his car, and does all this craziness, he doesn't report that. You know what I'm saying? Because there's nobody checking to see if he actually reported it. We did a questionnaire on Facebook, and we asked people, what age were you when an Aurora police officer pulled a gun on you? We had answers like 12, 13, 14, wow, 16, 15, and stuff like that. Wow. Now, you pulling guns on teenagers, and you're not reporting it yourself, or else you will be in trouble. So it has to be some type of fail-safe when these police officers are quick to pull out a gun, but they're not reporting it because they input the data themselves. So I don't know how that can be corrected, but like that's something that has to be looked at. And during the listening not the listening sessions, the change reform initiative, the chief of police was so adamant that the police are so tested so thoroughly that there could be no bad apples that fall through the cracks, because the police are tested, and we have a system, and like this system has been in place for years. It's the common practice. But the thing is, every week there's a horror story about a police officer involvement with a black and Latino. Yeah. You know, yeah. For instance, how can a police officer stop a person that's black? Because you smell weed, that gives you a plausible reason to search the car. Then you stick your finger up the young man's rectum. Now that is happening in Aurora, but the police act like it's just another day up on the job. And so the change initiative, reform, and all that stuff they talking, it sounds good, but like the reality up on the street is none of that is catching wind. And so things like that have to change, because if a police officer sticks his hand up somebody's ass, he's not reporting that. Right. Or like if you put a gun on somebody, he's not reporting that. If like he calls somebody a nigger, a spick, or like a faggot, he's not reporting that. And these are things that the police constantly say to blacks and Latinos up in the hood, up in the neighborhood. And so like that has to be rectified. And also the chief of police and those up in the upper management, they have to acknowledge that you have a system that's flawed. But the thing is, there's no acknowledgement. They think they're ahead of the curve, which is very dangerous. So one of the main things is how you input data to I guess like report on yourself. Something like that has to be changed. I don't know how, but it has to be, because there's no fail safe in it. Because a police officer can do like whatever he wants to do, and then he goes in a car and types up a report, and his word is law, and like, I don't think that's right.
Absolutely not. I do remember that so many millions of dollars was supposed to be set aside for body cameras, and to potentially be that fail safe that could that would be needed to record incidents of when we have officers using racial slurs, going against police procedure in the way that they handle a stop. When do you know when these body cameras are supposed to be administered to the police department, and are you confident that they will be useful in the ways in which we hope?
Well, from like the city council meeting or city of the whole meeting, they have a vendor for the body cams. Like my understanding, what holds the data, because with the body cam comes a lot of somebody has to go through that data, So I don't know when the body cams are supposed to be here, but they keep talking that they're working up on the body cams. Cassie might know more about it than me, but that's what I got from the last session.
Okay.
When they talked about it, and also we've seen people shot by the police on body cam, and it goes to court, and the police walk out free.
Yeah.
So the body cam is good, but that's not assurance that like we will see justice, because
Absolutely
we've seen
not.
it so many other times where something happens and it's caught on body cam and nothing happens.
That's true.
So
that's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
I think the narrative.
Go ahead, Casey.
I think the narrative. Yeah, I think the narrative of us against them has to stop. It's not us against them.
Agreed.
It's us against bad cops, against bad cops that are acting inappropriately, that are breaking the law, that are treating people unfairly. It's not us against them. We're not against the cops. We're not against, the police force. We're against being mistreated, okay? Constantly being racially profiled. That's what we're fighting against. We're fighting against injustices. That's what we're about. It's not about the police department per se. It's not about the police chief. It's the environment that they let go on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what we're fighting against. It's the environment, like what's happened. The culture behind it. Like a police chief putting a KKK note down on a black officer's, desk.
Yeah,
what
I saw
the hell's
that.
that about?
I saw that. Absolutely.
That's the type of culture that we're in right now. How can it be, in 2021 that we're still living this type of culture?
Yeah, it's amazing, man. It's unfortunate that we still are. We got Nicole Marie in the comments section, Casildo. She says she thinks that the body cams are supposed to be rolled out fully by the end of this year. She also chimes in and says from the city's website, in October 2020, the Aurora City Council unanimously approved $2 million plus 4 body cameras for the Aurora Police Department, with a pilot period of late 2020, early 2021, and full implementation in the second half of 2021. Thanks, Nicole. Yep. So
there
we'll
is a
see.
delay. I think they were trying to work their camera system with their existing system so that they would talk to each other. So I know there was a delay of that. That's what they were saying. That's the report that was given at City Council.
Okay.
That's why it hasn't been rolled out. But supposedly they are working on it. You know, we're hopeful that some of this cameras that these officers will be wearing will deter some of the bad behavior that we've been talking about.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, we'll see what happens. You know, we do need some type of fail safe, man. You know, to really fight off, you know, the bad behavior of some of these cops out here. And you're right, Brandy. You know, them reporting on themselves, they're not going to tell on themselves. You know, abusing someone. So yeah, we need something else in the mix to really be there to prevent this from happening. What else do you have for us, Brandy, on your list of issues to discuss today?
What else do you
up
want?
Well, anything
right.
that you have to
The
offer.
Aurora Alliance.
Okay.
All right. Can you hear me? All
Yes,
right.
yes,
the
we can.
Aurora Grassroots Alliance, we're trying to put the community council listening sessions. So like the Aurora Grassroots Alliance, we want to form our own community council listening sessions, and we want to invite the community in different neighborhoods to come speak. But at these sessions, the police won't be allowed, and city officials, they will not be allowed. This is strictly for the community to come and voice their concerns. So the first half of the listening session, it will be educational. We will teach people or educate people how to file a police report, even when they file one. You can go online or you can go to other people and they can file it for you. And then the second half will be formatted, because we just don't want people just getting up there just blasting off, but it'll be formatted with topics that the people like to talk about. So after we have a couple of these listening sessions throughout Aurora, we want to write up a report and present this to the mayor and to City Hall, and saying this is what the community is really talking about, and this is what the community really has issues and like they want to see change. Because a lot of people then come to the listening sessions that were held by the city and police, because they felt retaliation would come if they spoke out. So this way, people can come. If they're undocumented, they can come and speak freely about what's going on. If you have a past record, you can come and speak freely. If you just fear the police, you can come and speak freely, and we will take this information and write up a report and like present it to the mayor, city council, and the public, and to the media outlets to like let people know this is what people up in Aurora really feel about the issues, not what they put up in the Beacon News, and not what the mayor says, not the police chief says, and sugarcoat stuff, but this is what's really happening. So hopefully, once they see this, we can create a dialogue and actually try to improve the situation.
Gotcha.
So that's one of the things that like we're working on.
Okay.
And also, yeah.
No, go right ahead. Go right ahead.
And also the listening sessions from last year, we FOIA requested the listening sessions from last year. I think there were 5 or 6 of them. Now, those sessions should be public knowledge. The public should have access to those listening sessions. But for some reason, we've been doing these sessions for 20 years, and it never dawned on me that's public information, because it's in a public place, the public name. So FOIA requested the information only because I contacted Clay Muhammad twice. He never got back to me. Sadiq contacted him. He didn't get back. Mrs. Hartburns contacted him like 4 or 5 times, and he never got back. So I FOIA requested the information. So far, I got 1 video back, and I'm supposed to get 5 more. So hopefully, I'll get the other ones. And I'm trying to put the one online now, but it will not download for some reason. But like I want to put that out there, so the people who didn't have the chance to come to the listening session, that they can see exactly what was said by the police chief, by the mayor, by the deputy chief, and by the other residents and stuff in Aurora. So hopefully this week and next week I'll get some more of the listening sessions from the FOIA requests, and we can display those to the public. But the thing is, the kicker is nobody should have to FOIA request these listening sections. These should be up on a city website. Public is public information because it involves the community, but like they're holding it to their chests. So you can video record me, audio record me, and don't show me like the video, but like you got the video and like you showing investors and like everybody else and stakeholders, like you want to make it seem like this is a good place to invest in. Or damn, if you show it to them, I think like we should have like the same privilege since it's us speaking up in the community about it. So like I just think that's just ass backwards how that's even set up,
Absolutely, I have to agree with you right there. I do believe I do believe that the listening sessions, they should have all been uploaded and made available on Facebook, YouTube, or whatever. They should be there so the public can critique whether or not these sessions are even worth having, whether or not real progress is being made as a result of them. So I'm with you 100%, and hopefully with the continued pressure that you guys are putting on them, these things will come to fruition. That first tape, you might have to reach out to me. I might be able to help you get that uploaded. You know what I'm saying? Casildo, no problem.
Yes, sir.
Casildo, my brother.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, my man.
Oh, one thing, the Aurora Grassroots Alliance, we're trying to hold the gathering of the Grassroots August 7th at Millennium Plaza. I submitted a request application to do it. It's a hope, man. The process is so ridiculous, man. It's so ridiculous. But like we're trying to get it done. So we're trying to have the gathering of the Grassroots at like Millennium Plaza at Millennium Plaza. So all of the grassroots organizations will be there, and they will come and introduce themselves to the public and tell the public about what they're doing up in the community. And so we just want everybody to come and join fellowship and just see what the people are doing up in the community up on your behalf. And so even if you don't want to join a grassroots organization, like you can still try to support them and stuff like that. So that's August 7th. We're shooting for Millennium Plaza. If everything goes through, then like we'll be down there the first week in August, first Saturday and stuff in August. So that's what we're trying to do.
Great idea. I think it will be wonderful for all the organizations and activists to get together and get to know one another. Network with each other and be there to support one another. I'm with you on that. I might have to come down there and do a live show of that. I don't know. We have to talk. We have to talk. Get some interviews going. My man Casildo. Oh man, I appreciate y'all. My man Casildo. I know you got some. I know you got some info for everyone. If you will, my brother, go ahead and share what you got with us.
Well, I'm gonna go back a little bit to a bunch of stuff that Brandy said because I think it's important to touch up on some of the stuff, especially like you said, the supposed retirement of the police chief.
Right.
How could it be a retirement if you're applying somewhere else? A lot of people are saying, oh, thank you, congratulations, happy retirement. Well, you're not retiring. To me, that's not being truthful. That's not being transparent, which goes back to these problems that are happening. The transparency, the no communication, not letting the public really know what's going on.
Right.
Those are the problems. Those are the problems that we're facing. And Brandy's made aware of and telling people, look, this is what's happening. A lot of people are not wanting to listen or don't care to listen.
Right.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
But we can't stop. Brandy said, we got to keep applying the pressure. The listening sessions. Was there any real action taken from all those listening sessions that the city had? And I'm glad that he FOIA'd these
Say that
videos so
again.
that people can see. You know, what really positive actions came about these listening sessions from the city? You know, the review board. Well, I was the one of the finalists on the review board.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah.
Okay, and I was given a scenario where it said if there was clear misconduct by the police and the recommendation was not followed by the police, would you accept it? My response was, do I have a choice? No.
There
Do I have a say so in changing that decision? No.
you go.
So, what does it really do?
Nothing.
It gives recommendations, it writes a letter, but it ain't. If the police chief says, even though it was clear misconduct, and puts a little slap on the wrist and said that's it, that's all that should happen. That's what we're fighting. That's why this coalition exists. That's why Grassroots exists. Because of these injustices that keep happening. The misconduct that keeps happening. We're not saying they're all bad. We're saying is we got to get rid of the ones that are bad. That people are allowing, that the police chief is allowing, that the mayor might be allowing, that the city council is allowing, because if they are aware of these problems because they do exist, why is nothing being done about it?
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly. Exactly. I'm with you on that, man.
you know.
And
Um, today, what? Today marks what? 245 years
For
of
America.
July 4th,
Yep.
independence for
For
America.
America. Yeah. Yeah.
Patriotism.
Yeah.
What is patriotism?
I,
you
you
know,
got that's a good question if you ask me when it comes to America.
even locally, what is patriotism? Federally, statewide, nationwide, what is patriotism? I mean, a lot of people have differences of opinion of what true patriotism is. But a lot of people are not aware of the history. They keep forgetting the history. People who forget history are damned to repeat it again.
Doomed to repeat it. That's right.
Yeah, definitely. There's a preamble to the Constitution. You know, it says "We the people," but I don't feel it's "We the people."
No.
It's just some people. It goes on to say it establishes justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. It goes on and says all men are created equal.
Yeah, that's what they said.
This is what it says, but it's not what's being done.
No, it's not.
When you got a man kneeling on somebody's neck for such a long time till he kills him, murders him, and none of his fellow policemen do anything about it, there's a problem.
Absolutely.
When you got a
Absolutely.
police chief leaving a KKK note on another officer's desk, that's a problem.
And he thought it was a joke. He just really thought it was a joke.
Right.
It's amazing.
When are we going to stop making excuses for bad behavior? When are we going to say, hey, you know what? Enough is enough. Things need to change. The atmosphere needs to change. Everything needs to have an end and say, hey, let's start fresh. Let's work together. I don't see that. And you know where it starts? From the leaders,
Yes, it
from the
does.
president, from the state senators, congressmen, state representatives, councilmen, mayor, police chief. It starts with them.
Yes, it
They are
does.
the elected officials that need to grow a conscience, that need to grow a voice because we elected them to be our voice. And they're not being sometimes our voice. Sometimes they are, but sometimes they're not.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and that's why an alliance between the organizations and the pressure that you guys continue to put on local government is so important. I really do hope that folks will come out, to the gathering of the grassroots to meet you guys and and to work closer with your organizations, to bring about that change that we need, in the city of Aurora. So I greatly
Yeah, it's
appreciate all the
important.
efforts,
Yeah, it's important to volunteer your time. But you know what? It's not only about volunteering your time, it's to make sure that your principles align with that organization, with that board, that commission, that their mission statement or their work they do is a positive in the community, because sometimes you join just to join or to put it on your resume.
right?
What for? You're wasting your time and you're wasting our time.
Absolutely.
Because we're about
True.
action. We're about doing stuff. We're about making a positive change in the community, you know, and it has to be a democracy. It can't be a dictatorship in these groups or boards or commissions or organizations. Everybody has to have a voice. Because if we don't have a voice, if you don't give people a voice, how the hell are we going to know what to do? If there's only one person deciding for everybody what has to happen, what's going to happen, how it's going to happen, that's not a democracy. That's not what this nation was built on.
It's a dictatorship.
You know, I mean, all too often I see where minorities, people of color, get into a position of power and they forget where they came from.
Happens all the time.
Unfortunately,
Happens all
some,
the time.
some. I'm not saying everybody. I'm just saying some do
Yes.
forget.
Yes.
You know, so we have to realize that hey, once we get there, let's uplift everybody else. Let's help our fellow man. Let's make a positive change. It's not going to be easy to go against the grain, but damn it, you're going to feel much better when you do. When you do something positive, even if it's against the grain, even if it's against the popular demand or popularity of some of the people or most of the people, but if you're doing something positive, you're making a change in a positive direction for the community, it feels good.
That's right.
And more people need to do that. You know,
Agreed. Agreed. Hey,
you know, there's two sayings, uh, that resonate in my mind is I have a dream and si se puede. Two famous people said those words. Martin Luther King and Cesar Chavez, great leaders,
Mm-hmm.
wise leaders. When they say I have a dream, I know what he was talking about. And when Cesar Chavez says si se puede, yes you can, I know what he was
Yes, you
talking
can.
about. It's a struggle. Yes, it's a struggle out there. It's things that need to be done, but they can be done. It's not that they can be done. It's up to us to unite and get it done.
Get it done. Absolutely. Absolutely. And speaking of getting it done, I know one of Aurora's issues, economics, and I do know that Brandy, you took part in the business coalition that you were building along with Brother Sadiq, and I forgot the Reverend that you were with. Could you talk to us about that a little bit?
It was me, Sadiq from Pro Bono Society, and Pastor Spencer of Main Baptist Church. We formed the Aurora Black Business Coalition, and like the whole goal, the primary goal of this is to educate Black entrepreneurs, motivate them, and inspire them to open up Black businesses here in Aurora, and also to keep their Black business here in Aurora. Because it doesn't matter how many ribbon cuttings that the city can have 40 ribbon cuttings up in a year, but let's say 15 of those are black businesses. But if those black businesses go under like within the first 1 to 3 years, then that's not successful. And so like the thing here, we're trying to create an atmosphere to bring more black businesses here in Aurora, and also encourage people to open black businesses here in Aurora, so like we can have a larger economic footprint. Right now, there's nothing in Aurora to keep a black family in Aurora once their children graduates from high school, and there's nothing in Aurora to attract a black family or a black business here to Aurora to say, I want to raise my family here in Aurora, or else I want to start a business here up in Aurora. There's no city entity right now that can produce a comprehensive list of black businesses here in Aurora. That is detrimental. That is, excuse my language, fuckery and just plain dumb. We are the second largest city in Illinois, and we do not have a comprehensive list of black businesses here in Aurora. So if you're Mexican or Puerto Rican or white, and let's say you want to patronize a black business, you can't even find one because there's no list to tell you this is on the east side, this is here, like this is on Lake Street, this is on Kane Street or Beach Street. There's no list. So what we've tried to do, we've started collecting businesses' names and addresses to start the first black business, the first Aurora Black Business Directory of Aurora and like the surrounding areas. The last time I checked, we had 48 black businesses from Aurora and the surrounding areas. So once we get to 100, we're gonna put it online up in a website and make that the official one. And if the city wants to help, they can help. But you know, like you can't control it, but like you can help. You know, you can throw us some fundage. You can help with this. You know, say this is a lot of work. But so like we're doing that, and like the response has been great. People have been signing up to list and everything like that, and I go check it every day. And so that's where we're on. And so last year at the Pull Bump Society, we had with Pastor Spencer, we did 2 business workshops for people to learn about business, taxes, and stuff like that. Entrepreneurship, if you want to be a sole proprietor or an S corporation or LLC and stuff like that. So the main thing is just trying to inspire and focus here up in Aurora, because within the next 7 to 10 years or 5 to 7 years, the rent in Aurora is so expensive, black people will not be able to even live on the east side of Aurora because rent is so expensive. And then when it comes to economic growth, the only thing that's growing up in Aurora is the downtown area and out on 59. So now Aurora truly has a inner city because there's no business development up in those communities. We have restaurants, they're chain restaurants, but they're not locally owned.
Right.
And so that's what we're trying to work on. And if you go by Best Buy, the Park to Shop,
okay,
that's soon to be all Asian stores and stuff like that. So
okay,
they made they pooled their resources, they financed it, they came up with a comprehensive game plan and went to the city. Boom, this is what we want to do. I don't think they really asked. They said, this is what we're going to do. And like the city backed them and do it. It's beautiful over there because they pooled their resources. They got organized, like unified, and they did it. They put their money where their mouth is. Now like the Asian community and like other communities will support that spot. Black people in Aurora are only 10% of the population. And so now you have the Asian community rising and the Indian community rising too. And as they grow and get bigger, their economic footprint also gets larger. But up in Aurora, there's black flight because nobody black wants to raise their children here up in Aurora. So our economic footprint gets smaller because dollars are leaving. So we have to try to reverse that trend up in the next 5 to 7 years, or else, hey, there's no black community, you know what I'm saying? So like that's what we're focused on. And so a lot of people were like, man, you know, the Asians got this, Japanese got this. Why are you mad at them?
you
They're
can't
just
complain.
providing. they're just providing goods and services for their community. So like instead
Right.
of bitching and complaining, take some notes and see what they did and like
That's
apply
right.
it to your struggle and be like, hey, they did that. Why can't black people have something like that? We can have a whole strip of black owned stores financed by, stuff like that.
Yes, we
So
could.
that's what we need to get out of the mindset of when somebody does something, stop complaining and bitching and be like, look what they did. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, study how the white man does business. Why? Because the white man is successful in how he does business. You don't have to do it the same way he does it, but study how he does business. And so the Asians did that. So study how they did that and like the course they took, take that information, tweak it for the black community, and then like you can build your own park to shop here up in Aurora. So the main thing is economic development and trying to bring resources to the black community, because certain parts up on the east side, it looks like a goddamn bomb dropped on it, and there's no economic development going on. It's all downtown or it's all up on the outskirts. So like we have to change that and start putting businesses up in our community to thrive and stuff like that. Because just imagine this. Imagine if all of the black churches put their money in one bank.
Wow.
Then imagine if all of the black businesses, whether it's salon, hair shops, pop-up shops, restaurants, whatever it is, they put their money up in a bank. Now, just imagine if half of the people from ages 18 and up put their money up in a bank. Now, when a black family wants to go finance a home, you go to that bank and be like, boom, we have a whole community that like support this bank. We want interest rates reasonable, and we want to finance a home because we're first time homeowners.
Right.
Or you have a black business that wants to open up or expand. Boom, we have the whole community that like supports this bank. What are you going to do for us? That's economic leverage, because
Yes.
if you don't want to support us, hey, we'll just take our money and go to another bank. Hey, like
That's
we
right.
go to Naperville,
Let the
deposit it
market
there.
decide.
So
That's right.
exactly. So like that's the mindset that black people here in Aurora have to get on. We have to start building a economic footprint, a stronghold here, or else there will be no black people left up in Aurora, because there's nothing here to even suggest that black people are even here anymore, So like that's one of the main things, is just trying to educate black people about business, economics. Then hopefully they can open up a business, or even if they don't open up a business, support your local black businesses here up in Aurora, so like they can survive more than 3 years. So that's one of the main things.
Exactly. Yeah. A lot of folks, they tend to think that we move outside of Aurora. They think that everything is better for them, but a lot of folks don't realize that in a lot of these suburbs, black and brown people, we tend to be the minority in a lot of these towns surrounding Aurora. Once you move out, that takes that you take along with you not just your socioeconomic dollar, but you take away your political power as well. That's another thing that folks don't realize. So collectively, we could have more leverage, like you guys been talking about, if we stick here, if we stay here, patronize each other's community, support each other's community, and together, combine our resources and address those issues towards our local government like we should. You're absolutely
And
right.
this is another thing. When a Mexican opens up a business, nobody has to tell Mexicans to support that business. They automatically support that business.
Yes,
It's ingrained in them.
yes,
This is a Mexican
that's right.
business, and we're going to support this business. When black people open up a business, you got to beg black people to go to the business, and then if they get a Coke and like the ice is too warm, they want to bitch and complain on Facebook for like the next 5 years.
Yes,
One of the things that black people have one of the things that black people have to stop doing is tearing down their own business structure. Any little complaint from a black business, you will tear that business down and protest. You will go to McDonald's 100 times and like they will fuck up your order 99 times and you still go back to McDonald's
Yeah.
and don't say shit.
Yeah.
A black business gives you a chicken wing that's too small. You all on Facebook. Oh my God, I'm never going here again. And
These ain't chicken wings,
that's
these pigeon
sad
wings.
because like when it comes to black business, sometimes we're our own worst enemies because we don't support our businesses, and then when we do support them, we constantly complaining about them, and like that's a mindset that like we have to get out of, because you can go to a Mexican business and see like the food might not be great. No Mexican is on Facebook saying this restaurant is terrible. That's not happening. Like they might say, like they prefer Jalisco's over this one, but nobody's
once in a while.
yeah, but it's not the main thing. Like this restaurant is terrible, and like we're gonna boycott it. That's not happening here in Aurora. A black business. Oh, the cheese fries were too cold, and I hate it. I'm never going back there. Come on, man. That's a mentality of black defeat that like we have to get out of. You know what I mean? And like I think if we can change the culture and how we think and even how we interact with black businesses here up in Aurora, then like we can have a chance to survive.
Agreed. In a large part of that is after the 1960s with integration. You saw the number of black businesses fall away. So unfortunately, we don't have a lot of examples of what black business looks like, successful black business, group economics. So absolutely, we can learn a whole lot from our Latinx brothers and sisters when it comes down to maintaining that. Go ahead, Casildo.
I see that in Aurora, there, like as Brandy was stating, that there's this push for all these new businesses. I get it, but what about the existing businesses?
That's right.
The businesses that have been here, the mom and pop shops that have been here for so many years. Where's their help? Where's their the commitment from the city to them? Because if it wasn't for them, the downtown would be a ghost town.
Yep.
If it wasn't for all those little shops that would been there for years, it looked like a deserted city. Honestly, I know there's a push for all these new businesses. I get it, but there should also be a different entity that addresses the existing businesses, that makes sure that they get what they need. If they're having problems, if they're having financial problems, if they're having any kind of problem, I think there should be just somebody addressing those issues too. Because that's part of being a community. And that's what we've been fighting, is like we've been trying to get people together to work together. And like you stated, Andre, political wise, it's so important to get involved. I know people hate the word politics.
Oh yeah,
I hate it too. But I still ran for alderman.
That's
and the
right.
reason I ran is because I wanted to make a difference in a positive way for the community. It's not that I ran because I liked the limelight or I wanted to get my name out there, be famous. No, bullshit, man. It's work.
Yep.
For me, it's work. Anytime I've joined any organization, any board, anything, I give it 110%. Sometimes it's misperceived that I'm too outgoing or I want to do things. But damn right, I want to make a difference. Why? Because I want to see, if I'm here, I want to see the next person above me up here. And I want to reach down and grab that person that's down there and bring them up.
There you go.
And that's what we should be doing. We should be helping each other. Us minorities have got to get together, because we would be an awesome force if we get our shit together. Excuse the language.
But hey, that's
and
facts right there.
And it's not only economics, it's politics too, because it is about politics too.
It is.
If you have politics, you have a bigger foot in the door. You have more say so. You have more leverage on what gets done, what laws get passed. If you're talking to your state rep, if you're talking to your council person, heck, even the mayor, You got to say, hey, look, this is what we need to do. You got to talk to your congressman. You got to talk to senators and say, look, this is what we want. If we don't do it, it's not going to happen. It doesn't matter. You can bitch and moan 100 times on Facebook, but if you don't do the work, it's not going to happen. And if you're not in their face constantly, they're not going to listen. If you don't tell them, look, this is the problem right here, X, Y, Z, they're not going to know. Because if you complain on Facebook or social media, it ain't going to happen. I mean, it's just not. You got to get in their face. You got to sit down with them. You got to talk to them. Like Brandy said, we're going to present the letter. This is what we want off the next police chief. That's what community organizing is about. That's what applying the pressure is about. Because it is mixing politics. It is mixing grassroots together. It has to. It has to come together and work together. Because if it doesn't, it's not going to happen.
Absolutely not. That's right. The pressure continues, ladies and gentlemen. That's what it's all about.
Also, can I add something to what Silver said too?
Absolutely.
Politics. Somebody's been attacked. Politics without economics is like a symbol without substance. You know what I'm saying? You can have a politician, but if that politician does not have the economic footing,
Yeah.
and to back her or him, or the people to back her or him, then that's a lone politician up on a sailboat up in a big sea. You know what I'm saying? Also, I had a conversation with John Lash, right?
Okay.
And I was trying to explain to him about the downtown and about the businesses. Well, I wasn't explaining. I was just telling him about the downtown and the businesses because Chicano has been on that for a minute about we need to support the local businesses with all of the new businesses like just starting to open before the local businesses. They're just left out to dry. So, like
Right.
Chicano Times, he's been on that for like months now. And I was explaining to John Lash, I said, the city is gathering up buildings downtown, and they own a bunch of buildings downtown, and they only want to let their perception of what they expect downtown to be. So I might have a shoe store, Griselda might sell cars, but the city might not want a shoe store down there, so they'll give the business to him.
Right.
So that's how they keep control over downtown. And also the let's see, existing businesses. Some businesses didn't get loan money from the city to help them out during like the pandemic, but like the city is looking at this like business triage or a medical triage. I got a cut on my finger, you got a cut on your neck, so I'm gonna see the person with the cut on your neck first. You know what I'm saying? So like the city is looking at this like, this is the mom and pop business down here, but is this business bringing the type of foot traffic that we want down here, or is this business bringing in enough city tax revenue that like we can justify giving this business money? So I don't know if this is correct, but I see it as the city just letting some of these business starve to death until like they go out of business, and like then they can't plant like whatever they want to up in that spot, because if you're a mom and pop downtown, but like you're not bringing in the economics or the foot traffic that the city wants, the city is probably not going to help you. And so like you're looking at it from a point of triage and stuff like that. Be like, why should we help you when we can bring a Starbucks down here? Or why should we help you when like this business will bring more foot traffic down here? And plus the like demographic of this business is more what we want to see downtown. So like that's one of the reasons too, I think.
I agree, and the fact that they want to be bringing out these outside businesses, it really does kind of take away from the diversity that Aurora brags about having, all the time. You know what I mean? They would do better to get behind, like you guys have stated, the local businesses and entrepreneurs, help them get set up, help them renovate. Help them get more foot traffic, to those businesses, because, as diverse as this community is, as this city is, there's no reason why they should spend so much time, so much attention and money into bringing in these outside folks when we would patronize each other's business. When I first moved to Aurora, as a teenager, that's what we were doing. And with COVID happening, it's going to be even harder for mom and pops, to stay alive, so to speak. States are opening them back up, but I doubt if it's ever going to be the same. So they're going to need help. They're going to need help, and they're going to they need to be a part of the rejuvenation, I guess, of downtown. We need to be a part of that.
They need a seat at the table.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, if you guys have anything else that you want to present to the public before we get up out of here. All right. Well,
Me, I just want to say,
go
if
ahead.
you have time to join a group, a board, a commission, anything, make it to where you want and your heart is in it.
Yeah.
Make sure that that's what you want to do. And make sure that the people that are in charge of it have the same mindset that you do, and they're not in for themselves, but they're actually wanting to help the community. And that's what we're about.
That's what's up, man. And folks,
Yeah.
you experience issues with the police, file those reports. Don't let them get away with harassing you. Don't let them get away with any ill treatment towards you at all. They have a job to do, and they're supposed to be professional about it. And so anytime you see that the conduct of a law enforcement officer does not meet a professional standard, you report their ass. That's what you got to do. Brandy?
Also, one more thing, Dre. I want to name off the organizations that are under the Grassroots Alliance.
Absolutely.
If I get all the names right. So these are the organizations that are under the umbrella of the Grassroots Alliance, and we try to support each organization when they need help. And when there's a major issue up in the city, like the riot gear and stuff like that, we come together like Votron and try to make it happen. So these are the organizations. We have the People's Coalition, Corker Stock, Aurora Rapid Response Team, Chicago Metro LCLAA, Immigrant Liberation Alliance, that's in Aurora, Illinois, the Echo Development Center, Change Indivisible Aurora Action, and Change is an acronym. The East Aurora Counseling, we have the Judah Robinson Foundation, non-for-profit. We have FROC, the Black Alliance for Peace. We have JADE, which stands for Justice, Awareness, Dedication, and Education. We have NIJFON, which stands for Northern Illinois Justice for Our Neighbors. We have Indivisible Aurora, and last we have the Pole Bump Society. So these are all of the organizations that are under the Aurora Grassroots Alliance. And how we formed, I guess it was just an accident. I think we were writing a letter for the riot gear or something else we were writing a letter for, and then it just kind of just formed like that. So we just roll with it.
I'm glad
So-
you guys did. I mean, that's a lot of names right there, a lot of organizations right there. That's a lot of potential voice for the people of our city. So, ladies and gentlemen, definitely reach out and take part in some of these organizations. They could all use your help, and they're here for you, so you got to be there for them. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I greatly appreciate you tuning in with us today to the Reset Podcast. Enjoy your Sunday. Brandy and Casildo, stay on the line with me.